I've tried making this video multiple times. There is a bunch of links down in the description of this video to the FCC, congress.gov, susnews.com. Go check them out first and foremost. Go read things for yourself. Um, it looks like one of the worst potentials is coming to pass, which is a ban on new hardware being imported into the United States for and through the FCC. Um, is kind of complicated because the wording on the FCC website indicates that hardware that's already existing and approved from the FCC is still allowed for import, but it also links to congress.gov covered list, which is managed by the military, and they have other ideas. Um, so it's potentially the end of FPV as we know it. I filmed a 40-minute video trying to explain all this and wrap my head around it. This is going to be a much shorter video. Um, and I say end of FPVs, I'm a sponsored pilot with VCI. I have motors that I've helped manufacture and get designed, the 2010 motors for 3D. They're amazing. I've worked with a bunch of different manufacturers through AM32 project. I've worked with the developers of AM32. I've worked with the developers of Betaflight. I have touched every part of the machine. On my unicorn build, I have my own design and frame. Um, the only thing I don't have is video equipment, and this is one of the biggest thing. In the United States, we have motors production, we have ESC flight controller production, we have frame production. We really don't have a video system that's as good as DJI. And likewise, all in one, system that's built together. We really don't have things on par with the Mavic 5 or even the 4 Mini Pro. And a lot of companies in the span, I think, is effectively trying to shut down the shell game that is going on with, DJI leasing their technology to another company in a country and that is not on the covered list and company not on the covered list. And then they wrapping their own new brand onto this drone and importing it to the United States under like Sky Rover, for instance. Um, and this has been a thing that's been ramping up over the last year as tariffs and potential looms for this ban to become a thing. Meanwhile, DJI is essentially offloading yesteryear's hardware to these companies and these shells to put out into the, you know, industry. Now, even yesteryear's hardware is still better than most drones made in the United States, which is very unfortunate right now. But this is pulling things to a degree of, using national security as a reason for shutting down almost all imports potentially going forward. Now, I've been almost ignoring this all day. I had friends pinging me about a video that RC Model Reviews uploaded. Um, and again, link down below, all the links down below. Go check it out, read it for yourself, ingest it for yourself because things are now different, worse. We live in the cyberpunk dystopia that I thought we were going to be in. There's AI overrunning things, a lot of like production going to AI, cryptocurrency. Consumers aren't getting hands on hardware really. Hardware prices are going up for computers drastically. Drone hardware is going to become really hard to get. Now we're going to have to start fabricating, chips for this hardware and everything else here in the United States and using US based hardware, which realistically, we don't have a Shenzhen in the United States. We don't have a center for production like China does, which allows a lot of this innovation overseas to take place that we don't have here. Not to say we can't innovate in the United States, but there's a reason why they've pulled ahead so much within technology. Now, FPV as we know it is going to change. Rotorite, a subsidiary of Red Cat or Unusual Machines, um, has Fat Shark next to it, which means HD0. So hopefully HD0 hardware will be produced in the United States. We'll actually have US made stuff here. This is speculation as someone who's outside looking in because I have not been with Rotorite for many years. I've not really talked to them. Like, I'm not in any of the group chats. And it's not like I'm on bad terms with any of them over there. It's just like that was an era of my life. And then COVID happened, and then my life fell apart, a lot of things happened. Um, and so, like, now, though, they're in a different position than they were, 5, 10 years ago. And, so is Fat Shark. Fat Shark is like the Atari of FPV, in my opinion. I'm hoping we'll have the continuation of that. And that means hopefully Fat Shark will make a comeback. We can only hope. Um, and that also means open source projects will have to be made here in the United States, beta flight controllers, AM32 ESCs, maybe open IPC goggles, stuff that hopefully will be comparatively good to what we currently have, will hopefully be made here sooner than later. But next year is going to be tumultuous. It's going to take a year or two for that to start happening and for it to really start hitting the market. And also, we don't know how these changes are going to affect things. Like, this is huge. This is bigger than anything that I saw coming. Um, so yeah, go read all the documents. Um, the FCC says if you currently have hardware, it's still going to be allowed. Like, you'll be able to go use it. Doesn't ban current hardware that is here in the United States for consumers using it. There's very clear. The FCC has made that very clear on that. That being said, the import list for the covered list has a very big asterisk. Uh, a lot of companies that you've heard in the news that have had scandals around them relating to national security stuff have been added to that list, but they have a giant exemption that is a blanket statement now for a lot of things that are drone manufactured. But it's weird because it's within the FCC's list, right? So this is probably gonna more stuff will come probably soon, as far as like import stuff, not just the FCC stuff. The FCC stuff is just, I think, a small part of this. The covered list is bigger than that. Something I've been keeping eyes on for a while. Um, and now it's no longer just one company, it is a blanket statement of hardware, which is a huge change. So make that extremely clear. The sky is potentially falling. This is not hyperbolic. This has already been established with the FCC, and the FCC already has the authority right now to do these things. But again, the FCC is saying, hey, if you have hardware, keep using it as a consumer. But also, national security interests are saying, hey, we're going to stop all import of new drone hardware. So these two things happen on the same day here in December 22nd, 2025. I didn't think I'd be making this video today. I am sad that I have to. And I want to make it explicitly clear that I want FPV in the United States to continue on. I want the freestyle, the drone racing community, the hobby community, the innovators, the people that love to do this because it gives them an escape from their body, like me. I love that aspect of FPV. I want it to continue to exist because that innovation has led to the innovation we see now in the world of drones and FPV. And without that, I think the world is worse off. And I don't think anyone wants to stop that. This, I think, is an interesting attempt at trying to force the United States into becoming a drone manufacturing powerhouse and forcing the United States to use hardware made here, not imported here, made here. But right now, what does the future hold? Short term, hardware you have can still use. Um, New hardware may not be imported. It depends on how the FCC feels, literally. They could change. They could be like, yeah, tomorrow they could be like, oh, hey, we just want to clarify all that consumer stuff in this category is allowed, but you can't import X, Y, and Z. And it could get weird because they have the authority to govern themselves going forward. Whereas before they had to get congressional approval to add stuff to cover lists. Now it can just happen. So things are different. Things are different. And this is different than DJI's plea to have them audited by a national security agency to be, allowed into the United States. That has also not happened. And that is different than everything else that I've just mentioned in this video. So this is brand new, unfortunately. And on top of that, I'll make that explicitly clear. Um, so I don't know what the future holds for FPV. What I do know is we have to band together as a community to try to keep things in the air, to try to build new companies, to build the hardware here in the United States that's needed to keep us flying. And hopefully, in a couple years, things will settle down to the point where we're not feeling like the sky is falling. But for the next year, better put on a helmet because it is going to be a wild ride. And where things are and have been are not going to be where things are at the end of 2026. Um, and I'm hoping I will be able to find my place in the industry to help usher in the next era of, drone parts here in the US. Hopefully that means I will find a job in the industry that I have been in for 10 plus years and have had an active contributing factor in almost every aspect of. Um, I'm ready to do that, and I'm hoping I will have that opportunity going forward. Um, FPV isn't going to die. Drone racing isn't going to stop. I'm hoping freestyle as we know it will keep going. Tiny whoops will always be a thing. Um, and hopefully, this will be an opportunity for a whole new realm of drone innovation here in the United States. I'm hoping it's not all doom and gloom. It's very easy to focus on the doom and gloom in the world. Um, it's very hard to try to see the good. And in this case, it's really hard. Feel the feels, everybody, because this is weird. I never thought things were going to get to this point. I never thought this would be the direction that we're headed into 2026. I didn't think, AI was going to be taking over. Meanwhile, we have drones being, stopped from import and technology basically being shut down from entering our borders for national security reasons. Like, I knew that was a possibility, and people had talked about that, and, the grapevine has been very much abuzz with it, but I never thought I for a second that that was going to be where we're at now. But here we are. So, share this video, give it a like, leave a comment, leave a long comment, leave a positive comment. Let's not get negative here. What can you do for your local drone community to make it better? What can you do to make the future of FPV a brighter place for everybody? Um, we have to come together as a community to keep this thing alive. And I think it will stay alive. I just think this is going to be a very tumultuous time going forward for us as a community, as a hobby, as an industry. And I'm hoping I'll be here for it. I'm hoping you'll be here with me for it too. Um, so yeah, go check out those links in the description. Um, I might make an update video after this as things settle, and probably will have more information come out as the covered list and import things start, becoming more of a known entity. Um, go have fun. Go fly drones. If you have the ability to go fly, go fly. Go enjoy it. Just keep flying, y'all. Like, if you're in the AMA, if you're part of the AMA, hey, stand up for FPV. Um, even though I feel like a lot of the status quo right now is, doesn't really change model aviation overall because a lot of people fly existing hardware and nothing's really changed in there for years. FPV drones has been the pinnacle of FPV model aviation's innovation in the last 10 plus years. And I don't want to see that be hindered. I don't want to see that stop. I want to see the airspace stay open for people. I want to see the airways stay open for people. I want to see more drone robotics programs in schools. I want to see more people working on this technology for the future. And I think we will be there. We will get there. That this will be but a speed bump, if not the biggest speed bump in all of FPV history going forward. But we will get over it, and the other side will be created by those that venture to make it. And I'm hoping I get to be a part of that. So, yeah, I love you all. Like this video, subscribe. Um, I've got some cool stuff coming up. I just worked with AM 32 and Alka to fix 3D mode and add even more performance. And it's very juicy with the new 2.2 update. I'm going to be posting some footage for that. I spent months debugging AM32 and trying to fix problems that recently cropped up with some of the new releases. If you're on 2.17, 2.818, or 2.19, you should either downgrade to 2.16 or upgrade to 2.2. That'll give you reliable ESCs that do not desync. So yeah, go do that if you're a 3D pilot. This is also why I support open source hardware and have been very avid in my mission to make 3D as good as it can be on open source and projects that are open source, because this ban will stop a lot of importing of hardware, but these projects aren't going to stop, and hopefully we'll be able to make them here in the United States and continue on. And progress, again, will not stop. It'll just be a speed bump in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, love you all. Love each other. Do good in the world, and remember that we can make the world a better place, and it is up to each of us in our own ways to find out how we do that. Um, every single day, strive for that, because tomorrow can be better, but only if we make it better. And together we can do that. So, yeah, love you all. Till next time.